Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ben here. I am back again today doing another video. And today I'm going to be going through my playoff predictions for the upcoming 2021 NBA season. This is kind of predicated based on my standings predictions from each of the previous videos that I've done. And I'm only looking at the 1 through the 8 seed. I'm not going to really deal with the whole play-in game stuff of like the 7 seed through the 10 seed. So I'm just treating this as if it were a traditional year where like the 8 seed is the final seed in the playoffs, and so if you're annoyed by that, well, just deal with it, I guess. But there's too much variability for me to predict that 7 through 10 seed spot, I guess. I didn't feel like it, so I'm just doing as if the 7 and 8 seeds from each conference in the standings are the ones that make the playoffs. So here we go. I'm going to basically go through all the rounds in the East and then all the rounds in the West and then talk about the finals. And you can see everything on screen because I figure why hold you in suspense, just let you see what I think. And then also, if I were to go one at a time, you'd probably forget what I said in the first one by the last one, that kind of a thing. So now you can see it all to trace what I'm thinking the whole time. So in my standings video, I had Milwaukee as the 1 and Washington as the 8. And I think that Milwaukee, while a good team regular season wise, they still aren't that much better as the playoffs come. So I have them beating Washington, but in 6 games. And I think a duo of Beal and Westbrook would really test the defense of Milwaukee. And I think despite them being pretty much the better team, Washington would still have quite a bit of punch to give them some trouble in the first round. Next, I had Philly as the 2 seed, Indy as the 7. I think Philly wins this in 6, and again, Indy gives them some struggle because Indy is such a deep team, but I just feel like Philly comes out on top because Philly has the best 2 players in the series in Simmons and Embiid, and I think that's enough to get them over the hump, and then they finally have the spacing they need in Curry, Green, and Harris, and off the bench, as far as spacing, they have Thibault, so I think that they pretty much win this. And Indiana, although good, they don't have that one dude who feels like they can take over a playoff game. Brooklyn and Miami. So I had Brooklyn as the 3 seed, and I had Miami as the 6. And because of this, they face off in the first round, and only one can move on, which feels weird. But I am predicting Miami to lose in the first round to Brooklyn, and I think that it's going to be a 7-game series. It's going to be hard fought, but ultimately, I think Brooklyn's just way more talented, and Miami is going to come back to bite them that they basically did nothing this offseason, just laying and waiting for Giannis. I think that's going to hurt them in the long run, and so I have them losing in the first round because if you look at the matchups, you've got Kyrie versus Dragic. I take Kyrie. Then you've got Jimmy Butler versus Durant, essentially, is going to be a matchup. I'll take Durant. You've got Joe Harris versus the likes of Duncan Robinson. To me, that's a wash. You've got Bam versus Jarrett Allen and DeAndre Jordan. I'll take Bam. But then you've got, let's see here, Tyler Hero versus Dinwiddie and LeVert. I'll take Dinwiddie and LeVert. And then you've got the likes of Mo Harkless and Andre Iguodala versus Taurean Prince, and that's pretty much a wash too. So overall, I just like the depth of Brooklyn a lot better, so I'm taking them. Boston versus Toronto. I think this is the least competitive series in the first round. I think Boston's just a lot better than Toronto, and losing Gasol and Ibaka is going to hurt them a lot, and I feel like Boston's going to make moves to bring in somebody else to kind of replace Hayward, and that's going to help them, and I think this is going to be the sign of Toronto really needing to do something to shake up this roster. They've kind of just been coasting since the championship, and I think this year will wake them up and tell them that they need to do something to improve themselves, drastically. So second round, that would lead us to Milwaukee versus Boston. I actually was leaning towards Boston, but when I thought about it and how they played last year, Boston never had an answer for Giannis when they played. Tatum's too short to guard him. But then, Robert Williams or Tice or even Tristan Thompson, I think all those guys are going to be a little too slow to guard him. They don't have anybody tall enough and fast enough simultaneously to guard Giannis. So because of that, I think that they are going to lose that series in 6. On the other side of things, Philly versus Boston, or Philly versus Brooklyn in round 2, I think that, again, Brooklyn's depth is just too good, and you kind of get past the 2 or 3 good starters for Philly. Like, once you get past Simmons and Embiid, and honestly, once you get past those two, there aren't many guys that like I would consistently trust on the roster. Like, I like Curry a lot, and I like Tobias Harris a lot, but I don't know if I would like consistently trust them. And then also, Danny Green seems like a really spotty player, like really inconsistent. So yeah, I just don't completely trust Philly the way I would Brooklyn, who seems like they have a lot more depth, and even their main stars like Durant and Kyrie are a lot more playoff battle tested. So because of that, I again would pick Brooklyn in a very competitive 7 games though. And then the Eastern Conference Finals of Brooklyn and Milwaukee. Again, I love Brooklyn's depth, and I think when I talk about Boston, or excuse me, yeah, I talked about Boston, Milwaukee. Boston has nobody to put on Giannis, but Brooklyn has that 7-footer who's still pretty quick named Kevin Durant, who would match up perfectly for guarding Giannis. And let's be frank, Durant is just a better version of Giannis. Like, Durant is Giannis if Giannis could shoot. So for that reason, if you kind of call those two a wash, and then you look at the rest of the series, I just like Brooklyn's roster better. I think in Milwaukee's mind, they're saying like, okay, Drew Holiday can lock down Kyrie Irving, and then they can be pretty much a wash. I don't really think so. I think Kyrie is still going to play pretty decent even with Drew Holiday on him. Drew Holiday is a great defender, but Kyrie is like, it's like Drew's a great defender, but Kyrie is a great offensive player, so it's not like he's going to be easily stymied. And I just like a supporting cast of like Dinwiddie, LeVert, and Joe Harris better than I like a supporting cast of like DJ Wilson and DiVincenzo and Brook Lopez, I guess, if I'm being frank. So I have Brooklyn making it to the Eastern, or to the conference, or excuse me, to the NBA Finals. In the West, so I had the Lakers as the 1 and Houston as the 8 seed, and I think Lakers would pretty easily win that series. Houston, again, wouldn't really have much of an answer for Davis down low, as far as, Cousins and Wood aren't going to be great guarding him, and PJ Tucker's probably going to have to guard LeBron, so their defense is going to be the difference here, that they're not a good defensive team. Clippers and Utah, outside of Donovan Mitchell, I don't really, and Bojan Bogdanovic, he's good offensively, but there aren't really many like positive offensive players on this Utah team, and so for that reason, I'm taking the Clippers pretty easily here. I don't think they really have anybody to guard both Kawhi and Paul George. So yeah, I'm taking the Clippers, who are also quite a bit deeper than Utah. Denver and Golden State. I think that Denver ekes this one out, but it's a lot closer than people would think. I think that having the best player in the series in Curry would really help Golden State, and Denver really having no one to guard him would really hurt them too. But I just think that Denver's deeper, and so for that reason they'd win the series. And again, who knows how good Jamal Murray's going to be, and if it was just a bubble aberration or not. But if he is similar to what he was in the bubble, Curry's going to have to guard him, and he's going to struggle big time. And again, depth becomes a big thing to me, and the Warriors don't have depth, so that's going to hurt them a lot. Portland versus Dallas. Portland will have the better regular season, but Dallas will have the better postseason. I just think Luka is so good, and if Kawhi and Paul George were struggling to guard him, I think Robert Covington will similarly struggle, if not more. And I think a big factor in this too is that Portland doesn't have anybody good to guard Porzingis. Nurkic and Enes Kanter are both abysmal defensively, and they're not going to be able to guard him. And besides that, Josh Richardson can throw on Dame Lillard, and he's not a great defender. He's a good defender, but I think even just being bigger than Dame Lillard will help. He's 6'6" to Dame Lillard's 6'2". And so, yeah, from that perspective, you can throw Dorian Finney-Smith on C.J. McCollum and have Luka just guard Covington or Gary Trent Jr., and you can hide him decent enough. The thing about Portland that nobody really remembers, they'll be good in the regular season, but when it comes to lockdown time in the postseason, Robert Covington is the only good defender on this team. Lillard, McCollum, Nurkic, Carmelo, Enes Kanter, Gary Trent Jr. Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood will be okay, but those other four I just named will be bad, like actively bad defensively. So from that perspective, again, they just won't go that far. So that's my first round. The second round, I have Lakers versus Dallas. Basically, this series to me comes down to what's a better pairing, Luka and Porzingis or LeBron and AD. And although Luka is getting closer to LeBron, it's LeBron and AD still, so I have the Lakers moving on. And the rest is just wall dressing as far as the supporting casts go. But for the record, the Lakers do have a stronger supporting cast than Dallas. Clippers versus Denver. I think Clippers should have won this last year, and I think with just a more locked-in mindset, they'll win it this year. And I think they were already the more talented, better team, or like on paper at least, and they just had a couple of fluky games, but I think they'll right the ship and win it this year. Denver is not as good as they were last year, so I have the Clippers. And then Clippers and Lakers, close 7-game series to me, but the Lakers are the better team. They have more depth, and I like their dynamic duo better. And so again, between those two factors, I have them winning. And honestly, they're close defensively, but I still would actually maybe lean towards Lakers. They brought in former Defensive Player of the Year in Gasol. The Clippers brought in Ibaka, but LeBron is still a good defender when he really, really locks in on it and really wants to be. And AD is a phenomenal defender, and KCP is still good. So I think it's pretty much a wash defensively, and it's going to be very close. But I just like the AD-LeBron tandem a lot better than Paul George and Kawhi, who seem a little flaky at this point. Then Lakers and Brooklyn, very close series, but I just think that LeBron and AD are again the best duo in the league, and now it's become a league of duos, and they're better than Durant and Kyrie to me. And I think like if you look at the matchups down the line in the playoffs, you're gonna have like a starting lineup. I just think that AD can contain Durant better than people realize, and like let's say you're gonna put Durant on either KD or LeBron, or you're gonna put Durant on either Davis or LeBron, but who on that team is gonna guard the other guy? Like Kyrie, bad defender. LeVert, bad defender. Dinwiddie, bad defender. Joe Harris, bad defender. I mean, I guess maybe if you're Brooklyn, your idea is put Jarrett Allen on AD and put Durant on LeBron. That's probably what they're going to have to do, but I don't think that Jarrett Allen maybe can keep up with AD, so you might have to put Durant on him, and then you're forced playing Taurean Prince a lot more than you want to make him guard LeBron. I don't know. I just, again, these two teams are the deepest in the league to me, but I still like the Lakers a little bit better just because I think their depth is more versatile. They can play good defense with their bench players and good offense, whereas I feel like the Brooklyn's depth of LeVert and Dinwiddie and Joe Harris is more like strictly offensive depth. So for that reason, I'm taking the Lakers. And those are my playoff predictions, guys. Hope you enjoyed them. Hope you found them interesting. Let me know your comments or thoughts in the below, and I will see you next time. Bye.